YouTube. I'm not going to continue on the subject I was before. I'll probably return to that another time. Right now I'd like to talk about, I guess, the subject that Tooltime was on, which is, I guess it's a very generic subject, one that's being spoken about a lot currently on YouTube, which is the subject of the morality of eating animals, or the morality of animal suffering. And I guess I found an interesting angle. I thought that the angle that Tooltime was discussing on was, in the kind of nuanced way that he was looking at it, was very interesting, because it doesn't really directly have to do with animal suffering or veganism or vegetarianism, but more with the, I guess, the status of morality, how we can use morality, and what ways of using morality are justified or valid, or unjustified or invalid. And I find that very interesting. Basically what Tooltime was saying was that morality, our morality, is based off of a kind of well, it's based off of the intelligence that we have to conjure it up. But our brains, the evolution of our brains, the reason that we're so intelligent is because of the processes, the evolutionary process that we went through, being hunter-gatherers. Of course, it's a well-known fact that the reason that most predators are so intelligent is because evolutionarily they need to be able to outsmart their prey. So now we have this intelligence, but now we come up with this morality. And Tooltime is saying that our morality has been grown to, I guess, evolutionarily we've gotten the traits to come up with a morality, and socially we've grown to have these memes of morality. But what he's saying is that the reason that we have them is that is for self-preservation. It's like any other trait. Like any other animal social trait. It's like any other evolutionary trait. It's to protect the group. It's to protect the pack. It's not to consider other animals. And now, what I like about what Tooltime said, what I can respect in anyone's arguments, is that he thinks that makes it a very nuanced issue. It's not that it makes it that, oh no, it's absolutely right to not consider animal suffering, or he doesn't even say that it's necessarily not immoral to treat animals the way we treat them, but that it's a nuanced thing, and that right now that we have the capability of preserving ourselves, we can probably make, or we can surely, I think he says, we can surely make some space in our moral schemes that will afford the diminishment of killing, eating, and taking advantage of animals. And of course, I think that it's going to be a long way off before we're no longer dependent on animal-related production. But I agree that we're on our way. But the thing that I'm interested in here particularly is the status of morality. How he was saying that he was wondering if it's possible, or if it's probable in many circumstances, to use morality in a justified way that goes against, I guess, the environment that very morality was built upon. It's like, can we use morality to break the foundation of morality and still end up with a functioning moral system? I think, instinctively, I think that we can. Morality, I don't think it's in itself something that's genetically sustained. It was born out of a kind of evolution, social and biological evolution. But right now it's more a collection of ideas and concepts. It's about relationships between one thing and another, and I think that we can find I guess we can find a scheme like we do with every other emerging human condition. We can find a scheme to judge these matters of animal suffering now that we have the capability of doing so, and respecting the well-being of animals. Kind of went off subject there. What I really wanted to talk about, morality. I guess that's all I can say for now. I kind of lost my. I kind of went up in the clouds there for a moment. I guess I'll end there. I'll make another video next time once I get my thoughts back together on the subject. But it's an interesting discussion. I always found Montreal had a lot of trees for a town. I just got used to it while growing up, but I've noticed that many other cities that I go to, they don't have nearly as many trees as we do. It's kind of nice. You hear a lot of birds chirping. Sometimes you even hear cicadas. I guess that's it then. Hello YouTube. I'm continuing a belated response to Tooltime's video. The last time I talked, I was talking about whether or not we could pursue abstractions of our moral system, which undermine the environment or the methods in which our moral system has been constructed. Now I say yes, and I've thought about it a little bit more, and I'll say why. Now, to use a term that Gary often uses, we've changed the game of morality in how it is I guess encouraged or discouraged. Because a long time ago, when we didn't have such a sophisticated society, morality, or an animal sense of morality, was strongly influenced by its evolutionary factors, evolutionary consequences. It was more about preserving the species, preserving the individual in a kind of group environment, group setting. But now what we have is that our morality is no longer enforced in such a crude way. We have these concepts that we already have abstractions that we work with, called honor, love, and regardless of whether or not these things have their roots in survival of the fittest sort of environment, in a wild environment. Now they're subject to things like disgrace or respect. We have a society that encourages altruism, and we even look up to people that look after the environment or animals, even if doing so isn't obviously a good thing for our species in a self-preservation kind of sense. We always do find reasons for that, but the thing is that people will tend to have respect for vegetarians. I mean, sometimes some people don't. I do. But that's the thing. We have a new kind of reinforcement of moral values that has a basis in society, and it has a basis in these very abstractions. We honor things by themselves, such as love and whatever other abstractions of morality we may have. These abstractions are becoming, if they haven't already, have become the moral system. A lot of people still think in pragmatic terms, like, oh well, my morality is going to be about what's the most efficient way in preserving me and my society. But much of our morality, I'd say, is respecting values, and like Gary puts it, or in a sense similar to how Gary puts it, what Gary does is he looks at pain as a value, and he looks at pain in and of itself. He's abstracted the value of pain, separated it from only human preservation, and looks at it on its own and uses that to judge his morality, or things by his moral code. And rather than discussing whether or not Gary's in particular morality is the right or wrong one, I think he has very good reasoning in his moral code, but that's not really what I want to talk about. He, much like other people, is using what I would say is the popular way of looking at morality, and it's looking at these abstractions, and judging things by those abstractions on their own, and honoring them. And now, the reason I think this is immune to this kind of, oh well, what if humans evolve into a society that can no longer preserve itself, or what if these moral codes can't really survive in a survivalist environment? But they already are. And as long as we have this kind of societal discouragement of what goes against these values that we hold dear, we can continue to make moral codes that are based upon these abstractions, because we do have a habit of looking at these on their own and pursuing them, not because it's a self-serving efficiency, but because we have a kind of sense of being, I guess, selfless. And I find it very interesting, a selfless moral code, in that originally this selfless moral code was really to protect the self, maybe in a species sense. A species will develop a moral code to defend the species, to protect the genes, not really to protect. I mean, to protect the species, not to protect the individual. But I do see that morality has become a non-special thing, because people are pursuing things like being responsible for how we affect those that are negatively affected by us. And as long as we have this society that has itself is itself an abstraction of previous forces that we had brewing when we were hunter-gatherers, I think this is the proper environment to continue to pursue more noble things, like respecting the pain and pleasure of other animals and other species that may or may not have an effect on our own survival. So that's why I think it's not a vain or a useless thing to pursue something that undermines the origins of morality, because the game of morality has changed. Our society has changed, and a way of approaching morality is a more sophisticated one, so we can afford having more sophisticated moral codes. That's where I'll stop now. I think I'm going to have more to say on the subject, because I did kind of go on for a little bit there, but that's the end of this portion.